Streams live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com. We're also streaming live to Facebook and YouTube, as mentioned. Joey Long, director of the C.H. Moore Homestead and DeWitt County Museum, in studio with us this morning. Good morning, Joey. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, gearing up, of course, for the big annual Apple and Pork Festival, and this is year 57? 57. Can't believe it. Well, Joey, we have this conversation every year, but it never hurts to remind. Tell us, what is the Apple and Pork Festival for maybe listeners out there that are not familiar with this? What's the Apple and Pork Festival? How did it get started 57 years ago?
All right, so we have to go way back in time, don't we? Well, the Apple and Pork Festival was established to provide the funds necessary to take a dilapidated mansion and turn it into the beautiful museum that it has become today. So we'll go back a little farther, and I'll give you a little history even on how the museum came to be.
Can you tilt that mic up just a bit?
Like this.
There you go. Thank you. I need to pick up your voice. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So back in the 1960s, there was a group of individuals here in DeWitt County who got together and decided that they would like to start either a historical society or a museum. They didn't really care which. There was a man in Clinton named Mr. Kent who had an amazing collection of items and artifacts related to the history of the county. So he went to the group and said, well, if you do a museum, then I will let you borrow some of my artifacts. Okay, it's going to be a museum. So the museum went into a vacated hardware store on the south side of the square. And very soon they were running out of space. Meanwhile, the house that we now know as the C.H. Moore Homestead was standing unoccupied on the north edge of town and had served as just kind of an income for the C.H. Moore Trust over the years as a rental income. It had become in such bad condition they could no longer rent it out. They could not sell it because it was a part of the trust, but nothing said they couldn't tear it down. So all the paperwork had been filled out to tear that down. It just so happens that John Warner III at that time was the president of the John Warner Bank, and he was also the trustee of the C.H. Moore Trust. And it occurred to him that there could be a solution to everyone's problem. So he went to the Museum Association and said, you know, you are now lacking for space in your museum space. Why don't you take the museum and move it to the big house north of town? I will be able to knock out the wall here between this vacated hardware store and my bank and double the size of my bank, and you will have much more room for your museum.
I've never heard this story before, by the way.
So we're actually working on an exhibit on that story, this old house. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about that later.
Yeah.
Because it is a great story. And so this is a win-win for everyone. So here's the Museum Association, you know, the house of their dreams, but boy, does it need some work for restoration. It was in, really bad shape. So you need money to be able to begin this restoration process. And so that's where the idea for the first Apple and Pork Festival came from.
Wow.
Maybe we can just have a little something, and maybe we can raise the funds to get this huge project started. So it started with one kettle of soup beans and one stack of sandwiches on the front lawn. From that, it has grown to be one of the largest and best attended festivals in downstate Illinois.
It really is. It really is. And the, you talked about the kettles of bean soup. Now there's what, 8, 10, maybe 12 of those things out.
A lot of those.
Yeah, out there in the middle of the day. The ham sandwich line is right there, and it's long. Most of the day. So how did it go, Joey, from this modest festival to this big old festival we have today? What were some of the progression points? When did, say, nonprofits start getting involved? When was there a year where this thing really exploded? Is there a story there? How about some of those things?
I can't really say that there was a year when it, exploded for us. It was more along the lines of a gradual progression. I would say from the beginning, we know that it was a very well-attended festival. Certainly well attended by locals,
Mhm.
but very early on, it started bringing people in from across the state.
Mhm.
I know that back in the 70s, Chicago, groups in Chicago, there would be charter buses full of people from Chicago that would come down.
Wow.
And, people just parked all up and down um, the local streets, but also 51.
Mhm.
And, if you put on a festival and the people who come enjoy themselves and have a good time, they're going to tell people. And, these people are going to keep coming back every year. And it's just grown naturally.
Mhm.
And
That word of mouth.
right.
Mhm.
And, originally it was just the Museum Association operating the food booths.
Mhm.
And, when that number gets to be so large as far as visitors, obviously we can't feed 80,000 people
Mhm.
alone.
Mhm.
And so, that's when they, sent an invitation to other local nonprofits in the county and offered them the opportunity to come and, set up food booths. And
Mhm.
that provides a way for them to raise funds for their own mission statements.
Mhm.
And, as time moves on, the flea market has grown. Originally it was just in a park across the way. And then it was because that grassy field was used for parking.
Mhm.
Then, the flea market expanded and grew into the grassy field.
Mhm.
And now we lease the 4-H fairgrounds over the weekend from the 4-H Fair Association
Mhm.
to, allow for our flea market to be extended that far out.
Mhm.
It just continues to grow and grow.
Mhm. Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, is my guest in studio this morning. Of course, the Apple and Pork Festival, Joey, we haven't even put the dates out. September 27th, that's a Saturday. September 28th, that's a Sunday. Come out and join us for the Apple and Pork Festival. So, I want to go back to the dilapidated house. What kind of condition was it in? Where did they start? Obviously you can only take one bite out of the pie at a time, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the progression of raising money, restoring the home. What were some of those highlights?
Okay, so I'll go to the beginning. So the association took occupation of the house, and the first thing they did was brilliant. So this is back in the time when Route 51 did not go around Clinton. It went through Clinton and it went right by that house. So people had always been curious.
What's that big house?
Yeah. And so very early on, one of the first things that they did was, before doing anything to the inside of the house, the Museum Association opened it up for the weekend, invited people to come in. I think it was 50 cents, come in and take a look around.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just absolutely overwhelmed with the number of people that came through because they were so curious,
Mm-hmm.
And today I still get people that come in and say, I was here that weekend when they opened it. Boy, does it look different now.
Mm-hmm.
So what they ended up doing was, each year the Museum Association would have an Apple and Pork Festival,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would take that money and they would restore a room.
Mm-hmm.
Have a festival, restore a room, have a festival, restore the room. 22 years it took to get all of the rooms restored.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is, the beginning, and that's the progression. How bad was it, you asked me? Okay. So I've talked to people over the years who were there as members of the association when they first took on the project. I've also spoken to people throughout the years who, when they were children, lived in that home when it was a rental property. So our fireplaces, beautiful marble fireplaces, which were imported from Italy, I'm told that some of them were painted purple when the association took over. We have photographs, peeling wallpaper, doors off hinges, all of the beautiful original shutters, not on the windows, but they were able to find those in the attic and put them back where they had been. It was dilapidated is the word. Like I said, it was pretty bad. But, through all of this effort, it has now been restored to its former glory and serves as a landmark for this town. I think it serves as a point of pride for this county. And it also serves as the centerpiece of this festival that we have every year that brings so many people into our community.
Well, Joey, there's so much more to say. There's so much more to talk about. Let's break and come back with more. Apple and Pork Festival is Saturday, September 27th and Sunday, September 28th. Where's the best place for folks to go to learn about this annual festival?
For the most up-to-date information, they would want to follow our Apple and Pork Festival Facebook page. And then we also post information on the museum's Facebook page. That's C.H. Moore Homestead and DeWitt County Museum. There's also information on our website. That would be chmorehomestead.org. Or they can always give us a call. Phone number is 217-935-6066.
Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, my guest in studio this morning. More to come with Joey on the morning show.
WHOW.
Our local hospitals are the heartbeat of our communities, delivering critical care every hour of every day for everyone, training the next generation of caregivers. Beyond the walls, their benefit to the community is everywhere, driving the local economy and supporting local organizations, initiatives, and neighbors. Illinois Hospitals, healing communities. Learn more at team-iha.org. Sponsored by the Illinois Health and Hospital Association. Aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Dr. Sue Stir from Covenant Animal Clinic. We are very happy to be the proud sponsor of a new Adopt a Pet page on DeWittDailyNews.com. Just click on the icon next to the masthead to get to the new Adopt a Pet page. Then you will be able to see some of the adorable dogs and cats at the DeWitt County Animal Shelter that are waiting for their forever home. You can also click on the link from the page to fill out the animal adoption application form. Thank you for helping us spread the word about our four-legged friends at the DeWitt County Animal Shelter who are ready to be adopted. And remember, a healthy pet is a happy pet.
A sports injury takes the fun out of sports any time of year. Hi, I'm Paul Scarron, CEO of Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. All of our PT folks are trained in lots of specialties, just like a bigger facility, to get you back in the game from a sports injury, or if you're in need of any other physical therapy your doctor prescribes. We offer quality, compassionate care close to home, so don't go out of town. Come see us at the Warner Hospital and Health Services Physical Therapy Department, and we'll get you back in the game.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio, Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum, and C.H. Moore Homestead, our guest today. And Joey, as we chat here for this morning, of course, Apple and Pork Festival comes up September 27 and 28. We're just a week away from the annual festival. Let's inform folks about, we've talked about the evolution of the festival and how it's grown up to this event that's 80,000, 100,000 people come to the community. When they come to Clinton, they want to make sure they come to the Homestead grounds, because that's where you're supporting the festival. That's the origins of the festival, all those things. What are they going to see when they get there? What's there to do? How about some of those things?
Well, I'm going to take it back to what are they going to smell? That's the first thing before you get there and see. And you know what I'm talking about. I think that one of the signature features of this festival is just the smells. As soon as you are approaching the grounds, you smell those ham and beans cooking over that open fire. All these other wonderful, aromas in the air. That's one thing. And then as far as what are you going to see? You're going to see a lot of busy people out there, making up all of those delicious foods. And then you're going to see all the crowd out there walking the grounds and enjoying all there is to see. Just to give someone maybe an overview if they've not been before, we have over 20 food booths offering all sorts of old-fashioned apple and pork foods. We have a fine art show. We have a 19th century crafters tent. We have meal grinding demonstrations, blacksmith demonstrations, rope making demonstrations, and other crafters out there, demonstrating how things were done in the old days, from the basket weaving to the furniture making and wood carving and whatnot. We have free musical entertainment on the stage both days, playing throughout. We have our very own Mr. Lincoln, who we all adore. Mr. Lincoln, he strolls the grounds and chats with people and poses for photos with them. And then 3 times during each day, he gives a presentation. His presentations are just outstanding.
How long are they?
They're about, depending on questions and answers, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. We do have a lot of seating around that area, so it's a great time to like take a break and take this in. And while they're very informative and so historically accurate, and one thing, he tailors them to our story, DeWitt County story, CH Moore's story, which, that's outstanding. But you'll also, Lincoln, the real Lincoln, is known for being somewhat humorous. And our own Mr. Lincoln is quite funny as well.
He really leans into it.
Right. It's not just like a history lesson.
It's not dry.
It's almost like a history lesson and a stand-up comedy act. It's
not dry.
No.
It's entertaining. Yeah.
No. And we also have a tractor show. We have a huge flea market. We have all kinds of things going on. And just come and take it all in. It's a great way to usher in fall. And it's a great way to, it's just a great way to connect with your community. It's a great way to celebrate what it's all about and think about how fortunate we really are to have this museum and how fortunate we are to have this successful festival.
And the festival, Joey, goes off without a hitch so often. I can't even remember the last time there was an issue. Maybe that year that it was super hot, and maybe there were folks that I remember there was a few emergencies that year. What makes this festival, one, operate at such an efficient level where there's very few issues, people are in and out, there's no, there is a little congestion, trying to wait for food and stuff, but that's natural. What makes this festival so unique in that way?
Well, I would say that it's the dedication of the volunteers, both volunteers that are on the DeWitt County Museum Association board, as well as all of the volunteers and all of those other food booths that are there on the grounds. These people are dedicated to this festival. A lot of these people have been doing it for 50 or more years. And so with all of those years of experience and the one generation then taking the next generation under their wing and teaching them, this is how you build a real fence. This is how you cook this pot of beans. This is, passing that knowledge on. It just goes smoothly year after year.
Well, and I tell you, the old-fashioned nature of the festival never dies, and it never dies in popularity. Like people, even though it's old-fashioned and you're not going to get the deep fried carnival food, there's no rides, there's no beer tent, there's none of that. It still is timeless in that way. It's amazing. What do you attribute that to?
It truly is. I think that people appreciate that simplicity. It's kind of in a way you might compare it to enjoying simple pleasures, or when times were a little simpler, just enjoying something as wholesome as a slab of apple pie or a gingerbread cookie that was made by hand from scratch by this group of ladies from Waynesville. People appreciate that. The brat that's cooked right there in front of you, or the ham and bean. People appreciate that type of thing as much as they would appreciate, a handmade quilt. I think that they appreciate, what goes into that.
Well, Joey, on that note, I've got 2 minutes. Let's talk hours of Apple and Pork, when folks can arrive, when things really kind of kick into high gear. I know for folks that don't like the crowds, there's the opportunity to eat some breakfast early, support some groups, and move along. How about that?
Yeah. So generally, the hours of operation for the festival are 9 to 5 both days, and that is rain or shine, I will add. But for the early birds, they want to avoid the crowds. Breakfast will be available. There is going to be, beginning at 7 a.m., you would be able to get breakfast at the breakfast tent there on the museum grounds. The Kinney Civic League also will be there, and they'll be serving up cinnamon rolls and sausage and gravy. Or I'm sorry, biscuits and gravy. And then at the Carriage Barn, the Museum Association will be offering apple cider donuts and hot coffee. So people are welcome to come out early and take it all in early if they like.
Joey, where do folks go to follow along with everything Apple and Pork Festival?
Go to our Apple and Pork Festival Facebook page. That's Apple and Pork Festival. Those would be the most updated and the most, what's the word I'm looking for?
Up to the minute. I don't know. Up to date. Yeah.
Post,
yeah.
to let people know what's going on. Everything from entertainment schedule to lost and found information, all that stuff. Or they can go to our website, that's chmorehomestead.org, or give us a call.
Very good. Well, Joey, we'll see you there.
We'll see you there.
Yes, very good. Joey Long is the director of the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead. The Apple and Pork Festival, by the way, comes up September 27th and 28th in Clinton. Network news on the way.
WHOW.